What's cracking, my silly Desies? I'm Rido, and welcome back to another trip on the Rido roller coaster. So today, I haven't done a video in a really long time. It's a new year since I've last done a video, so I thought we're going to get back in this new year with a new Rido roller coaster and get back track on what we're going to do and just have a bit of fun as always. So what's been happening? Recently I went and watched my first ever anime movie, which was Weathering with You. So I thought, let me just share my thoughts on the anime and if it was good or not. So let's do a Rido review. So let's strap ourselves up in for another trip on the Rido roller coaster. So Weathering with You is the new massive hit by Makoto Shinkai. You might recognise Makoto Shinkai from Your Name. Critically acclaimed, absolutely phenomenal anime movie. My favourite anime movie to date. But I just gonna say straight here, there's been a lot of problems with reviews and just comments on the movie, which have kind of annoyed me. And that is referring to Your Name. So we've probably most of seen Your Name or heard about Your Name, and I'm just gonna say this movie isn't Your Name, and I don't like when people keep comparing it to Your Name as it's a sequel. Yes, it's set in the same universe as Your Name, no doubtably. Certain things I'll talk about later in the video definitely convey this and show it, but it is not. It's different, and it should be treated with respect as any other anime or anime movie was. Just because it's done by the same person, we don't do two directors of the show and say how it's not like this anime. It's like they're two different animes, just have similar flows, but it's a different. So treat Weathering with You with respect as you would with a new show, and don't go in thinking how great Your Name was and try and bring it down by using Your Name as an excuse, because that's not how it works, and that is not how Makoto Shinkai wanted. He put the most effort into this movie as any director would, and it should be treated with respect for doing so. So with that out of the way, I just wanted to say that because it's been annoying me ever since I've watched the film. We're going to go ahead and start this review. So our protagonist, Hodoka, is a kid who just wants to run away. So he lives on this island far away and he just wants to get away from it. So he goes to Tokyo. He runs away from home his whole life and moves to Tokyo. But Tokyo was not how he kind of wanted it to be. He ends up wasting all his money and broke on the streets. He meets this guy called Keisuke, who's kind of near enough saves his life at the start of the film, and he says, "Yeah, if you're ever in trouble, or give me a call, and as a job kind of thing." And he's like, "Okay, cool." But throughout the movie, Hodoka kind of stays, and he's trying to find somewhere to live, and trying to get a bit of money in. If he keeps relying on mobile text to kind of like help him out, like a little forum saying, "Hey, I'm in Tokyo. I'm 16. How do I get a job?" And they're like, "You're not." So he's like, "Oh no, he really needs this job, but he can't find one." So it's a bit of a problem for him. So in the part of the movie at the start where he ends up going to McDonald's and buying a Big Mac. And yes, not a Big Mac, not a Big Mac, not any of the terrible McDonald's or it's McDonald's in the movie, which I think is a nice element of realism they added to the movie. And this bit is pretty sad, really, when he says that Big Mac, and I'll say that Big Mac looked really juicy and really nice, and he said that's probably the best meal he's had in his life. So it kind of demonstrates the kind of growing up of what Hodoka's had, and that he's not such a happy kid, and that is kind of why he wanted to go to Tokyo. And here he meets this girl, and she offers him this free Big Mac because he couldn't afford it, and he was kind of just sitting there wanting to, just and sleeping there, sleeping rough because he didn't have a home to go to, which is pretty sad and upsetting a bit. Really, it gets you a bit emotional because you're kind of really feeling sorry for him, and he's in such a place. He kind of just wanted to follow some dreams, but the dream hasn't really worked out. So, it goes ahead, and eventually he sees, right, I'm gonna ring up that Keisuke guy from earlier, and he's like, yeah, sure, and he rings him up and goes, right, we, I'll give you a job, and that's exactly what he does, and there he kind of, his life starts to get a bit better. It gives him a home, a bit of money, although it's known very little. He gets paid, but obviously Hodoka's happy. Here he meets this girl called Natsumi. She's like a university student. Well, she's hot. And yeah, some nice juicy moments with Natsumi. And she kind of, Hodoka kind of thinks she's pretty hot. You say and a bit nervous around certain areas. But they all work at this place, and it's writing about articles and big things. Hodoka finds out about something called Sunshine Girls, people who can bring sunshine and do miracles. So this is kind of where it's similar to Your Name in aspects, but we're not going to be comparing it to Your Name in this too much because they both have spiritual elements. And he's having a happy life. They're kind of like a family now. So you've got Natsumi, Keisuke, and Hodoka kind of just hanging out, making meals, doing what a family does. The thing what Hodoka never really had, which is pretty nice to see him actually happy again. Then one day he meets the girl who got a Big Mac from, and he's like, oh, I remember her, but realised some guys are gonna do something he thinks she probably doesn't want to do, so he's like, hey, get off her. And then from earlier he found a gun in a bag, and he's kept on to it thinking it was unreal, but later he points it at the guy's like, go away, I don't want you here. I realise it's real, and he drops it, and those two escape. So it's pretty intense. I was not expecting the gun violence in this film, and well, it was definitely interesting and pretty emotional. And so also the fact is, when he realizes it's a real gun, it's like, oh shoot, I was not expecting that. And I've always found that's pretty interesting. And so then they have to run away, and you find out the girl's name is Hina, and he soon realizes, after a bit of disagreement, that she's a sunshine girl. She's what Natsumi and Hidoka have been looking for. The people who can make a sunshine. And she makes all the rain disappear, because Tokyo is in a problem right now. It's got so much harsh conditions, and the rain is intense and does not stop. And so, but she, with a prayer at a shrine, can make the rain stop. She has the power to make the rain stop and make sun come out, and that is probably why she calls the Sunshine Girl. And so eventually Hodoka realizes, hey, if you have this massive cool power, why not share it? So they start up this business and make a few bits of cash out of it, and a pretty decent amount most of the time, through answering prayers, and like, it's like a good deed center where just maybe someone like, oh, I want some weather for a picnic with my daughter. Oh, we want the school for a school running race or something. We've got a big event coming up. Will you do it for us? And they're like, and they go and answer all these prayers, and people actually getting some sunshine, so they don't have to be so miserable, and they're doing a great thing for the world. But eventually, it takes a darker turn. Unfortunately, you eventually realise that Hodoka he run away from home, but now people are looking for him. So this is when Hodoka's world kind of goes a bit crazy. It's like, oh no, it's like I'm perfect. I don't want to go back. But then you realise also Hina's in a similar position, because after their mum died, they're living in this house and they're not supposed to be, because she also has a brother, and this one of my best things about this movie. Had a little brother called Nagi, and Nagi at the start is a bit, you're like, who is this kid? And then you realise he's the OP harem protagonist. He just sits there with these women, and he's not very old. He's starting early. He's like, yeah, let's start the harem early, boys. And he goes ahead and just like he meets this one girl. It's like, oh, see you later. Here's the next one. It's like he's up there for the harem king. Come on, Issei, you've got some trouble over here, because this kid he's up there. He knows what he's doing with the woman, and I love Nagi for that. And he finds out it actually makes a good relationship, especially in respect to Hodoka, who kind of starts to get feelings for Hina, and he goes ahead and like, hey, you got to be with my sister. It's like, you're really kind. I really like you too, and it's like, I'll help you kind of get together with Hina. And they're like, oh yeah, picks out a ring, everything is good, and because they eventually start to go, and they've done enough of this talent business. They've done so many requests, they just want to take a break. And Hodoka thinks, fair enough, we've done loads, we deserve a rest. But then it gets dark, because you realise Hina will disappear if she keeps using these powers, and you slowly see her kind of dissolving it, turning to water as such, and she'll just disappear if she misuses or uses the powers too much, and that's kind of maybe why she wanted to stop, you realise. And but so he's like, oh no, you can't use these powers anymore. And then he wakes up and realises Hina's sacrificed himself, and you're like, wow. Hina sacrificed for Hodoka, so the sun is always shining again, and so the intense rain finally stops with the sacrifice of Hina, and Hodoka's like, how can I live? Because now, after being on the run, Hodoka and Hina, they need to just go ahead and they take away Nagi, and there's this moment where Nagi just gets taken away and he's taken to child services, social services, and then they take him into his room for meetings, and he's meeting all these girls, and they're coming in and out, and it's like, it's pretty dark, the fact he's been taken away from his sister because she's disappeared, but it's still got some comedy in it, and I love that. It takes some real comedy from dark places, which is really nice. And eventually he realises, there may be a way to stop this. So then he's going like, yeah, we need to help you. But everyone won't believe him. Hina's gone, and that she went into the sky. Everything thinks he's making it up. No one will believe him. So he eventually says, I know, I need to get to that shrine. But the problem is, it's blocked now, and then so he's getting there. He's going through this massive gun shooting chase where the people think he's a really dangerous criminal after, because the guys from earlier who he tried to protect Hina when he first met her, actually think he's this pretty powerful kid now that he's got a gun, and they still think so. They chase him and try and capture him, also because he's been reported missing, so they want to try and save him from that. And yeah, he just goes out, and there's this massive chase on train tracks. It's it's one of the best action scenes I've seen, and it's really emotional, and you just see, yeah, you can do this, you can do it. And he eventually gets to the block where upstairs it'll be, and he sees Keisuke. Is like, come home, don't do it, come on, just go home. And he's like, no, he won't believe me. So then Hodoka finds the gun where he dropped it earlier. It's like, yeah, I'm going to shoot you. And you're like, no way, you can't do that. He's been like a father to you. And like, also Keisuke's admitted is kind of like he saw himself in Hodoka. And it's just like, no, you can't do that. Please don't. And he was like, oh no. And then he's just like, the other guy, no, you're not doing this. And it's like, no, I'll shoot you. I'll shoot you. No, you. It's really intense. Like, is he gonna shoot? It's like, and you slowly see him like, please don't shoot him. And it could have gone either way. It's really suspenseful. You really don't know what's gonna happen there, and it's quite interesting. And so eventually, like, no, let's not do this. So then Keisuke basically charges and lets eventually Hodoka go up to there, then rescue Hina, and finds Hina in the sky, and everything goes back to normal after that, because the rain starts again. But the problem is, obviously, they're taken away from each other, which is pretty sad. So then it skips forward, and like, similar to Your Name, I said I wouldn't do this, but there's a time skip 3 years later where he had to return to the island, but he's hated it ever since, and he just wants to go back to Tokyo and see Hina. And at the end we basically see Hina, which is really nice. So that's my roughest summary of the story I could find. So overall, what do we think of this movie? It's a phenomenal movie. The art in this film is absolutely beautiful. It takes a world of its own. I think it looks nicer than Your Name, actually. Your Name looked beautiful, but art style, it's sublime. It's phenomenal. It's one of the nicest, beautifulest movie I've seen for a while. And which is really nice. I really did like that about that movie. Story, again, while people do compare it to Your Name, I'm not going to. While it does use some of a similar formula, I think it really works. There are certain scenes which I felt were a bit predictable, but overall it was a really solid story. I really liked imagination here of using the weather, because even Makoto Shinkai actually said he wanted something a bit relatable to like the climate change, and interesting, and boy, I loved it. I really loved the storyline. It was really nice. Characters really engageable. Hodoka, Hina, Nagi, Natsume, Keisuke, all great characters. Really rememberable. I remember these characters a bit more than I do on to Your Name. And going on to Your Name is an interesting thing, because I did like the cameos put in there by Taki and Mitsuha being in there, which I thought was a nice touch and got a homage to his earlier works. So I don't know, maybe he's going to try and do a kind of Ghibli kind of feel, where you kind of see the characters from previous things with a little in the universe, so which would be really nice, and I think there's definitely room for that in the future. So overall, I think this is a phenomenal movie, but we should not compare it to Your Name, because they're not the same director, but not the same. Absolutely phenomenal film. I'll give this film a 9 out of 10. Definitely really up there, and an absolutely awesome film. And I'm so glad I got the pleasure to go and watch this film, because it's amazing, and it's so differently watching an anime in a cinema. It's beautiful, and it's such an emotional film and an awesome film. So that's about it for this review. I hope you enjoyed another reader review. We haven't done one of these for ages, which I thought was really nice. And so I hope we can do some more videos in the future. I really enjoyed this video. I hope you did. And if you did, as always, make sure to demolish the like and subscribe buttons down below. I really do appreciate it. So any comments on what you want to do in the future videos or anything at all, don't hesitate to let me know so we can get back onto this Reader roller coaster. So I'll see you next time on another trip on the Reader roller coaster. See you guys. Reader out.